What's good, y'all? Welcome back. Happy Tuesday. I know I've been a bit MIA the last couple of days. Obviously, guys, on Sunday, it's a pretty hard day. Very, very, very hard day. Sunday, Monday was even worse. But feeling a tad bit better. Not 100%. Still gonna take some time for me to get over that Super Bowl loss, but it is what it is. Like I said, give credit to the Rams. They did what they need to do. But you guys are probably not here for that. But yeah, we're back with another F1 video. Two teams have just dropped their cars. Williams and AlphaTauri. I know I butchered AlphaTauri's name. I'm so sorry. AlphaTauri's car looks good. I did see it. I was looking at it a couple minutes ago. Looked good. I ain't gonna cap. Williams' car, Williams' car goes absolutely crazy. I ain't gonna cap. That's probably the best looking car they ever released. Williams did a hell of a job. Now, it sucks, but it's gonna be interesting to see. You know, Williams, obviously Alex Albon is with Williams this year. It's gonna be exciting. But that car was absolutely crazy how good that bad boy was. But we're back with the most bizarre Formula One race of all time. We have seen, the craziest finishes. That shit was wild. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video and sub as well to the channel. Hope you guys are doing amazing, wonderful, stupendous, lovely. Let's go and get started.
Nobody will forget, but not because it was actually good. When you look through our F1 history, there have been great races, bad races, crazy races, and many controversial incidents. But this one particular race, in my opinion, takes the absolute biscuit when it comes to being one of the most memorable, but for one of the strangest reasons ever. I'm of course talking about Indianapolis 2005, the United States Grand Prix, and 6 cars took part.
Wait. 6 cars actually started the race, or 6 cars ended up finishing the race? That means there was a team that didn't feel if 6 cars started the race. To my mathematical calculations, that means a team didn't have a car or 2 participate.
Year before to really get an understanding as to why all of this happened and how the banking started.
It's a flashback back in 04.
Early in the race in 2004,
Young Chaz.
Fernando Alonso's Renault suffered a tyre failure at the end of the straight. A couple of laps later, Ralf Schumacher also had a tyre failure on his Williams, this time on the banking, and ended up running.
Wait, Ralf Schumacher, he did race. That was the dude who can't stand Mazepin. But who cannot stand Mazepin. He used to race. We should probably check him out. We should probably check out Ralf Schumacher.
Into the wall. The massive impact left him with a concussion and minor fractures in his spine, forcing him to miss the next 6 races.
Damn.
Both cars were running Michelin tyres, and it left people wondering whether it was a fundamental tyre problem or perhaps the freak result of debris from the 4-car accident which had happened on the opening lap. Either way, it was a foreshadowing of the events that were to unfold the following year.
The Indy 500.
By the time of the 2005 race, things had changed a bit. Indianapolis had been resurfaced, and then when the field rocked up to test for the Indy 500 that year, tyre manufacturer Firestone...
Also I do know in NASCAR, they do kiss the brakes. The winner kisses the brakes afterwards. Do they do that in F1 as well, as that just a NASCAR type of thing?
...that the tyre wear was unusually high. Small grooves were cut into the surface which helped, as did the fact that Firestone was able to change its tyre construction to cope with the changes. Over in the F1 world, the tyre rules had seen a significant change. Bridgestone and Ferrari had dominated 2004 to such an extent that the FIA introduced rules designed to peg them back a little. One of which was to mandate all drivers to use a single set of tyres for the entire race, only being allowed to stop for fuel. It worked. Ferrari lost all competitiveness, and the teams using Michelin tyres, such as Renault and McLaren, moved to the forefront.
Okay.
At the 2005 US Grand Prix, all of these changes were about to come together in a perfect storm and create possibly the biggest farce in Formula 1 history. It started on Friday practice when, for the second year running, Ralf Schumacher had a tyre failure on the banking and his Toyota slammed into the wall.
Jesus.
Thankfully, he was okay, but was ruled out of the race on medical grounds and replaced by Ricardo Zonta. After the Friday sessions, Michelin discovered 6 more tyre failures and flew them back to France for analysis. There, they discovered the unique combination of loads and stresses caused by the banked turn 13 and new surface was the cause of the failures. A new specification of tyre was flown out to Indianapolis, but these didn't work either.
What the?
And Michelin advised its teams not to run more than 10 consecutive laps. Certainly not enough for a full race distance. Alarm.
Hold up. So Michelin is just gonna be like, listen, we know, we kind of made y'all switch to us. Yes, our tires suck, but guess what? Y'all still gonna race in it. Even after we seen Ralf Schumacher crash with those tires, and Michelin flew it back to France, wherever the hell they came from. Did some tests, sent it back to the track, and they're still saying, right. This is gonna be interesting. This is going to be interesting.
Bells. A solution needed to be found for the race and quick. Qualifying went ahead without a hitch, and despite all the problems for the team, surprisingly it was Jarno Trulli who gave Toyota its first F1 pole position.
I don't know who that is.
Race day came and still everyone was confused. It was clear that the Michelin tyres couldn't last an entire race.
That's what I'm
distance.
saying.
So what was going to happen? A number of solutions were proposed. One was to install a temporary chicane on the final corner to reduce the speeds. 9 of the 10 teams agreed. Can anyone guess who vetoed it? Go on. I bet you'll never be able to guess who was running Bridgestone tyres and wanted to be on the top step of the podium.
Ferrari.
Yep, it was Ferrari.
I knew it.
I
knew it. I knew it.
Forced to pit every 10
Of course it's them.
And another suggested that the Michelin teams would be forced to either go through the pit lane on every lap or run around the top of the turn 13 banking at a reduced speed.
Ew.
Again, would that really have worked?
No.
If any of these plans could have been arranged upon, there was the option to run the race as a non-championship round and at least put on a show for the 130,000 fans who turned up to watch.
Jesus.
Not to mention the millions around the world watching the race in one of the sport's biggest and most important markets. But FIA President Max Mosley,
America.
who wasn't actually at the circuit, reportedly threatened that if that happened, he'd shut down every FIA-affiliated organisation in North America.
My man, you're not even
As the
there.
start of the race drew nearer, no solution had been agreed upon, and it became increasingly likely that Michelin wouldn't allow its drivers to take part. The drivers lined up on the grid and set off on the formation lap. A team radio message from David Coulthard was broadcast. If this comes down to my choice, I want to race. He had no choice. At the end of the formation lap, Trulli led a train of the 14 Michelin runners down the pit lane as they all withdrew from the race. An incredibly sad sight to see. It at least shed a bit more light on his pole position though. In the days where you had to qualify with your race fuel on board, it seems Toyota had been so certain of not being able to race that they sent Trulli out for his qualifying lap on minimal fuel to at least try and grab some positive headlines for snatching P1. Meanwhile, the 2 Ferraris, 2 Jordans and 2 Minardis lined up, spread out in their original grid position.
That's hold
The
up.
weirdest thing you'll ever see.
I missed something. Let's rewind it back.
The drivers lined up on the grid and set off on the formation lap. A team radio message from David Coulthard was broadcast. If this comes down to my choice, I want to race. He had no choice. At the end of the formation lap, Trulli led a train of the 14 Michelin runners down the pit lane as they all withdrew from the race. An incredibly sad sight to see. It at least shed a bit more light on his pole position.
So they was like, nah, we ain't going for that. We ain't going for that.
In the days where you had to qualify with your race fuel on board, it seems
I'm not taking that risk.
so certain of not being able to race that they sent Trulli out for his qualifying lap on minimal fuel to at least try and grab some positive headlines for snatching P1. Meanwhile, the 2
Shout out to
Ferraris, 2
WTF
Jordans
again.
and 2 Minardis lined up,
Jordan.
spread out in their original grid positions. The weirdest thing you'll ever see. Ready for a 90-minute 6-car race over 73 laps. Understandably furious at what was playing out in front of them, the crowd booed and jeered, throwing things onto the track, holding up protest signs, and eventually leaving the event. Despite looking certain for a good result, Minardi boss Paul Stoddart was left absolutely fuming, not only at the decision to race, but because Jordan, with whom Minardi were fighting for last in the championship, had apparently gone back on a pre-race agreement for the two teams to join the Michelin runners and boycott the race.
They capped.
Clearly Jordan fancied a shot at the podium after all. The race, if we can call it that, went ahead without much incident, save for a brief moment where the two Ferraris almost collided after a pit stop. Michael Schumacher won what would be his only race of the season, that hurts to say, ahead of Rubens Barrichello, with Thiago Monteiro winning the battle to finish third ahead of Narain Karthikeyan and the two Minardis of Christian Albers and Patrick Friesacker. So, who was to blame? Well, Michelin had made the tyres that weren't fit for purpose, but they couldn't have predicted that a resurfacing of the track would have such an adverse effect on the way they made their product.
Yeah.
Bridgestone had managed it, sure, but they had the benefit of data from Firestone, a company owned by Bridgestone, on the new surface, so was able to make changes. So how about blaming Ferrari for blocking the chicane idea? Well, as nice as it would have been to see them show solidarity with the other 9, you can't blame a team for seeing an opportunity to grab maximum points.
Facts.
But now that I say that, I kind of do blame them just a little bit. How about the FIA for not doing all they could to make sure a race goes ahead?
True.
Well, you can perhaps a little, but in a sport so bound by strict rules and regulations, suddenly changing the layout of the track or adjusting the format of the race to accommodate a tyre manufacturer with a faulty product are things which require more than a day or two to figure out. Whatever happened, somebody was going to lose out. In situations like that, the best thing to do is to choose the option that's going to upset the fewest people. In this case, the best thing to do would have probably been to cancel the race or postpone it to later in the year. It would have annoyed Ferrari and been very frustrating to the fans, but hopefully understandable. But in going ahead with the race anyway and leaving it up to Michelin alone to take the fall was an insult to pretty much everybody and not the sort of response you'd expect from a massive global sport. Thankfully, the event had little impact on the wider championship fight, with the exception that it probably meant Michael Schumacher finished 2 places higher in the standings than he should have done, third instead of fifth, and that Ferrari beat Toyota to third in the Constructors, which actually is quite a bit of money. We hope this sort of thing doesn't happen again, but oddly, it almost did. This year's Australian Grand Prix could have been a right mess following the withdrawal of McLaren, and the reports that a number of drivers got flights home before the race had even been cancelled. Thankfully, the sensible decision was taken and the race was cancelled, and you'd like to think that the lessons learned from the 2005 US Grand Prix played a small part in that happening.
Shout out to WTF, but if I was the FIA, I would just cancel the race. I'm not gonna have 6 drivers racing. That's no. I'm not gonna have 6 drivers racing. Of course, Ferrari is likely going to win the race. I'm not. Hell no. Between Jordan and the other team, I'm not. Hell no. No. That's a joke. That's bizarre, weird. I blame Bridgestone. I blame all of them. All of them. I blame all. They all deserve a part. They all deserve a part. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys later.